Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to Home Solutions. Once again, Dennis Purvis with you here live in the Mix 1041 studio. Hope everybody is having a fantastic week, fantastic weekend. Thank you for listening today. As always, we're brought to you by our company, Pro 93 Home Solutions. Jesse and I are super proud to be the sponsor of the show, and he's super happy not to have to be on the show today. He's probably home in bed right now. At least I hope he is. But thank you guys for listening. Remember, we are your local friendly neighborhood general contractor for any of your home improvement needs. Maybe you're looking just to remodel some space, repurpose some space. Maybe you've got to move your parents in and you need a mother-in-law suite. You need a basement finished. Maybe you need a detached garage. We're doing a nice pool house over in Sale Creek right now, doing a couple custom builds right now. We would love to help you no matter how big or how small. We want to be your partner. Free estimates. All you got to do is give us a call, 458-4135. Option number 1 will get you straight through to get an estimate scheduled. Mark, our estimator, will come out. Meet with you. It doesn't cost you a dime. And if you don't want to use the phone, get on our website, pro93homesolutions.com. Hit that contact us. You can schedule that estimate there. It comes to all three of us. We'll be able to get a hold of you and get you on the calendar. Don't forget, we also have our clean team between Mary and Delphina and everybody and Sam and Shauna. They are ready to go to come out to whether you're looking for a deep clean, a move in, a move out. Maybe you've had some work done at your house and you just need that drywall dust cleaned up. Construction cleanup. You've got an office space you're looking to get cleaned. We would love to come in, again, free estimates to do some recurring service for you as well. And don't forget that we offer Green Clean through Melaleuca products. If you have anyone in your family or in your office that doesn't like that chlorine, ammonia smell, or they're allergic to it, or asthma, whatever those are, we have all green, all natural products that absolutely get the job done, but will not leave you with that "I just got at my house clean" smell. So that is no extra charge. We use those products. You get that for the same price as if we're using Pine Sol, whatever your cleaner of choice is. Again, 458-4135 or pro93homesolutions.com. All right, I got that out of the way. I've got a good buddy of mine with us today, and listen, I used to be in his line of work, and I was doing his line of work back when trained monkeys could do it, when rates were going swimmingly, and there was all the subprime lending, and if you had a pulse, you could get a house. You could get some money, and then 2008 happened.
Yes, sir.
And I realized that maybe I didn't want to do that anymore. Of course, I was in California at the time. The perfect place to be in 2008. I owned a house in California. Woke up one morning and it was worth a third less than it was when I went to bed.
Oh wow,
that's a fun day.
That's actually a lot of that's a great awakening alarm.
Oh yeah. So without further ado, I've got the lovely, the talented Darrell Whitaker. Yes, you're lovely. You have a great face for radio. Has anybody ever told you that?
For radio, I would agree with that. Yeah. That'll work.
And also, not only is he the owner of Home Mortgage Solutions here in town, Darrell Whitaker, he's the voice of the Cleveland
Blue Raiders.
Yes, so if you go out to a home game and you're like, who is that sultry voice over the PA? It's this guy right here. So
this guy,
Darrell's with us. So Darrell, first of all, thanks for being here today, man.
Thanks for inviting me.
And Darrell and his company, I can tell you, full disclosure, I've used them in the past. I've got nothing but, and I'm somebody that's been in the business, and there's somebody that I use them just because they do business the way we like to do business. They are transparent. They are upfront. They are men of integrity in there. And listen, Darrell's going to tell you, not every phone call he's going to make to you is going to make you happy. But that phone call still's got to be made, and you're getting it from somebody you trust, somebody who's going to work with you and stand by you. So I can give an absolute personal testimony to what his company does. So Darrell, we get started here. Just kind of tell everybody the background of Home Mortgage Solutions. Am I right that I think you guys are kind of the longest ship standing in town right now, right?
Well, we are the oldest locally owned mortgage lender in Bradley County.
There you go.
And we're actually in Bradley County. We formed our company. Our articles of incorporation are filed in the courthouse at Bradley County. So we're not from we're not local people who live here and working for a company in, like you said, California.
Yeah.
We are here in Cleveland, Tennessee, so our customers, we could see them in the grocery store and wherever. And part of our mission statement is we do value our reputation, like you were talking about in the community.
Yeah.
It was just the way I was raised, is to be transparent and straightforward. And sometimes, like you said, you don't get what you want to hear, but at least it's the truth. And when you have that, then you can figure out a way to actually solve problems instead of the last minute a problem coming up that you can't solve. And so in Bradley County, I actually am a Lee College graduate, not Lee University, because they told me I couldn't change my degree when they were asking me for money. So I told them, well, if I can't change my degree, will you please tell Lee University to quit calling me, because evidently I'm not a graduate from there.
I can write a check to Lee College, but I don't know if I want to write a check to Lee University.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. So will you tell Lee University to stop calling? So they I think they did. But anyway, but I graduated from Lee in 1989, which is where I met my wife, who graduated in 1990. The interesting thing is my daughter, she graduated from Walker Valley. My wife graduated from Bradley.
Yeah.
My son is a senior at Cleveland High School, pitcher on the baseball team, and so we hit all three schools. And even though I'm originally from Douglasville, Georgia, we've been in Cleveland for longer than that's my home now.
I didn't realize that you were from Douglasville.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
West of Atlanta, 30 miles. That explains being a Braves fan and all that good stuff.
It's small town, but, Will Campbell, basketball coach, he's a Douglasville guy.
He was a little bit behind. He's a little younger than I am,
and
I don't know, it's probably my age or the stress of the business, like you talked about that you got out of. I think my hair's turned completely white. I think he's still okay because he's a little bit younger than I am.
Well, he's a basketball coach, so it ain't going to go. It's going to go white soon anyway. So, but yeah. And if you have met Darrell at all, you'll know he is a diehard Mississippi State fan.
Uh-oh. This just took a dark turn.
That was all a lie. Please tell everybody out there, who is your your college team of choice?
Well, growing up in Douglasville, my dad helped guide me to be a Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket fan.
Ramblin' Wreck.
However, over 30 years ago, I met my wife, and now I bleed orange. I've married into a volunteer family now, become part of that. Love going to Neyland on Saturdays. And so I knew when I saw Georgia Tech play Tennessee for the first time, and once Tennessee was losing, that was in that Chick-fil-A bowl, and it was hurting, I realized I had been completely converted. So for over 30 years now, which is more than half my life, I've been a Vols fan. So there.
And folks, he is diehard Vols fan. If you ever want to get into the details of what's going on, this man knows, I promise you. So I think if you're listening out there, folks, before we even get into all the nooks and crannies of where the market is and what's going on in the business right now of buying and selling your home, you've got a guy that's local, that's invested in the community. He's invested not just his time, but his family and his faith right here locally. And again, they do fantastic work and provide a fantastic service for the community here. So we'll just jump in. People are scared right now. That's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on here. We're a home and garden show, and it's hard to have a home and garden show if you don't have a home. So folks are, some people may out there, just because if all you do is watch the news and you listen to the headlines, they're scared of, oh my God, rates. But before we even start this, I do want to tell this story. My dad always puts this in perspective for me. He says that he remembers the first house that they ever bought. I don't know, maybe 10 years old, I don't know. But it was their first home that they'd bought, finally got out of renting, and he assumed an FHA mortgage from a person in Dayton, Ohio. And he thought he was living the high life and had got the deal of the century because he assumed a 14% interest rate, and rates were 19 at the time. 19%, folks. Most of you are carrying credit cards that have better interest rates than that on a revolving line. This was a secured home. and he was thrilled to get 14%. So it kind of puts things in perspective. We have a lot of recency bias, and we're so used to, a couple years ago, people were getting 3s and 4s and all kinds of things, and people, and you were, and I was around you then. You were preaching, if you're going to do something, do it now. We may never see this again.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes, sir.
And so tell us where we are right now, and where do you see? You've got years of experience in this. Where are you seeing kind of things going? And should people be scared right now?
Well, I think you put it. You hit the nail on the head. I know the first time I bought a house, I got a special rate, and that rate was almost 10%. So, yes, what we've had happening historically is rates right now are not really that far off from historical rates.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at is, how would you say it? I think the best way to say it is you're not going to get married to a rate right now. You're going to date the rate.
Yeah.
Because one thing that we've learned is when rates go down a point, it doubles the size the size of people who are actually looking to buy a home, which puts more competition, which can actually drive prices higher.
Yeah.
So if you buy now, every time it goes down, you're going to have more competition, and we do have a supply issue.
Yeah.
So it puts upward pressure on prices. So you may get a lower rate by waiting, but with the competition, you may pay more for a house. If you get a house now with the interest rates where they're at before they go down, then it puts you in a position where when rates do go down, you've already got a house at what you can buy it for now instead of a higher price, and you can refinance it.
Yeah.
And refinance costs are a lot lower than initial purchases. There's some programs like FHA that have a streamline, which you basically make your next payment. That's all you've got into it, and you've got a lower rate and lower payment where you can do a refi a lot cheaper. So the biggest thing that we've seen is to look at getting a home loan now while there's not as much competition, and then when rates do go down, whether it's dropping a point, 2 points, or whatever, you can refinance, and you're actually now having a payment that's based on a lower amount than if you wait and have to pay more later. So you're not going to have that loan for the rest of your life. You're going to have it for a short period, and then when rates get better, you can deal with it that way. Now, with that said, it's still very scary to some people to buy a home. You have payment shock. You have landlords, though, are raising some of your rents.
Folks, if you have not seen rents out there right now, there are houses that just a couple years ago big houses, $1,200, $1,300 that are now going at for $2,200, $2,400. I saw one the other day, $2,700 a month. It made me think about being a landlord and building a tiny house. I'm not going to lie to you, because my mortgage payment's half of that. I mean, it is, we have gotten, and I think part of it too is just the demographics of our community. We've gotten a huge influx of people from not just surrounding cities, but other states that have come in. I know we've done a lot of work for folks from out west, from Florida, from even up north, where you can buy a lot more house here than you can in those markets. So they're not concerned, because they're thinking, hey, I just sold my house for $1 million and I can buy the same house for $400,000, $500,000 in Tennessee. So they don't feel what we're feeling because we live it every day, but it's, as we do this, I was thinking about this when you're saying that if buyers are scared, sellers are too. So that's going to drive prices down right now. So you may get more bang for your buck, and you're going to have that. You're going to have that rate. But when you turn around to refinance, you're not worried about the appraised value because you know it's going up.
Exactly, and that's the thing. One of the things about Home Mortgage Solutions that we do is we're not just a lender. We can also broker loans. So we got the best of both worlds, because if you do not qualify for something, like you go to a lot of places, you just get turned down. So if you don't qualify for something with our investors, you can turn around and actually we can, instead of saying, well, you can't get a loan, here's another option for you. So we have
listen, and I hate to cut you off, but we're up against the break. We're going to get some commercials run. When we come back, we're going to talk more about that, because I'm going to talk about some of the programs you have that are specific to kind of some of those brokered options that you've got out there. So hang in there. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back with Darrell Whitaker for Home Mortgage Solutions. You're listening to Home Solutions. Solutions everywhere today, folks, right here on Mix 104.1 and 101.3 The Buzz. Are you tired of going to YouTube or Google for answers to your home improvement questions? Maybe you have more projects than you have time. No matter where you are in the process, Pro 93 Home Solutions is ready to serve you. Pro 93 is a local, veteran-owned company offering residential and commercial remodeling, cleaning, and security. Contact us today at 458-4135 or online at pro93homesolutions.com. Let the pros at Pro 93 find the solution for your home or business. That's 458-4135. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic Saturday. Dennis Purvis here at Home Solutions for your weekly rundown. Today we got Darrell Whitaker from Home Mortgage Solutions. And before I forget, I always forget this is radio, except for you people. Oh, by the way, Facebook world, we're waving to you up there. Hope you guys are watching us and having a good time on that. Or maybe you're watching the replay later this week on YouTube. Hey, thank you so much. And no matter how you're listening, thank you for whether you're in the car driving, maybe you're listening at home streaming, maybe you're on the Mix 104.1 app, or maybe you're watching us on Facebook. Either way, thank you so much. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the suggestions. It helps us find, we love hearing from you guys to find out who you want to hear from here on Home Solutions. If you've got somebody here in the community you think would be a great fit, give us a buzz. 458-4135 at the office. Call the radio station here or just hit us up on those comments on Facebook. We would love to hear from you. But I got Darrell Whitaker, and before I go any further, what is a good phone number for them to reach you guys at Home Mortgage Solutions?
You can reach our office at 423-339-8086. You can also reach me on my cell phone, 423-505-1376. And I also want to mention John Bischoff. He works with us. His daughter is a an outstanding basketball player and soccer goalie at Walker Valley. And John's cell phone number is 505-9811. So there you go. I just hit the hit his name on my cell phone when I call him.
And Heather, the better half of John, she was quite the. We went to school together. I went to Lee with her. She was a baller in college.
Volleyball,
volleyball player, and so they get that honest. And if you've ever played anything with John, he seems like just a really. He's just a quiet ho-hum guy till you get him in any sort of competitive situation, and then he's going to murder you if he thinks he's going to lose.
I was thinking he plays to kill.
Yeah, he's not here just to have fun. He's here to win.
He is there to win. Yes,
I don't even want to play checkers with him. So. I can't believe we didn't mention. Oh, John, we're sorry. We should have mentioned you in the first segment. But we got you in. We got you in, buddy. So right before we went on break, you were talking about the difference between, you guys are a lender, but you're also a broker. And for folks out there, just dumb it down for folks that maybe don't speak our language, don't speak that jargon. Why is that important to have both of those options?
Okay, so first of all, when we're doing our own lending, we have some of the best, most competitive rates out there that you can qualify for, and standard conventional loan programs and things of that nature. Okay, we do rural development loans, as well as we actually have some non-qualified mortgage loans as well. But to try to just make it as basic as possible, when you have money down and you have a great credit score, we can get you a great rate and a loan, and it meets our investor guidelines. And when it doesn't, a lot of places you go, well, you're just turned down, and no one likes rejection. So when we're doing our own lending and it meets our investor guidelines, everything's great. You get your loan, you get a great rate, you walk out of there, and you're really happy. However, there are some times that folks have some credit challenges. And one thing we can do is help with those challenges to help get those scores improved to qualify for different loans. However, if it doesn't meet the guidelines from our investors, instead of a turn down, we can look at alternate ways to actually broker a loan where we have several investors who are actually going to be the lender on the loan, that we can place your loan and get you a mortgage. So it's one of those things where you may not qualify for this, but instead of not being able to buy a home, we can give you other options.
And I think and one of the reasons that I used them years ago was credit wasn't my problem. Proving my income was my problem because I'm self-employed. And they had you guys, and I'm assuming they're still around, bank statement loans for self-employed folks.
They went away for a little while, but they've come back in the last couple of years, and we have those are what you would call mortgages that may not fit right in the sweet spot of what typical lenders are actually not only looking for but will approve. So we have those kind of loans, and we also have loans for individuals that have individual tax number IDs.
Yep. That's huge.
That is huge.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even know that was out there.
Yes. And so we have so many, what it basically does is it gives us the ability to fill so many needs for people to have home ownership in our area. And we are licensed in Tennessee, the whole state, and also in Georgia. So we can help borrowers in either one of those states. And what I go back to, and I think this is where the motivation to do what I do is, I go back to an old movie called It's a Wonderful Life.
I love that movie.
Which, if you haven't ever watched it, it's a classic. You need to watch it. But one thing that George Bailey tells Potter is his existence and his company's existence is to be there so that people wouldn't necessarily have to just rent and live in Potter slums, and they could have an actual house that was their own.
Yeah.
And that's what I think what gives us joy and happiness is being able to help the people in our community to be able to have a house of their own. And regardless of your circumstances, we like to help. If you don't qualify yet, or we don't have a program that makes it work, we want to try to get you there instead of just like throwing you out the door and making you feel worthless.
And just listen to you talk. It took me back to the part I miss most about being in finance and being in mortgage business is sitting at a closing table with a first-time buyer that didn't think they could qualify, didn't think they had the credit, didn't know anything when they walked through the door. They were just hoping and praying. And they're sitting there and you watch them sign their paperwork and they get their keys. There's a sense of pride that goes. I mean, in our country, most wealth most people's wealth is wrapped up in their home. That is where 90% of. I mean, I'm not a country music aficionado, but there's a great song out there about buying dirt. God ain't making any more of it, right? Real estate's a great investment, but it's how we build wealth traditionally in this country, and it's how most families. That's what gets passed down when somebody passes is who gets the house and what are they going to do with the property, or what are they going to do with the acreage, or and it's to be able to help somebody get there. And I can tell you this about both Darrell and John. I know folks that they have worked with that a lot of lenders would have not wasted time with. They would have told them, you don't qualify, sorry, we can't help you. Now, some of that's a product of circumstances. Some banks, they don't have options. If you don't fit that cookie cutter, 700 credit score with 20% down, you may not fit their parameters. Some of them just don't want to waste time because it's going to be work. But I've watched these guys work with people for months and years at a time to help them establish their credit, rebuild their credit, get their income to where it needs to be, get their debt ratios where they need to be, get stuff paid off. Because you put that time in, they're going to buy a house. They're going to need to buy some from somebody. They're going to need money from somebody. You put that time in, you're not just tossing them out the door because you can't get them done tomorrow. And exactly. It's one of the reasons I respect you guys. I respect your company. And when I tell you folks that these guys are men of integrity, this is what I'm talking about. They are invested in this community. I can tell you, Darrell sitting right here is a man that wants you to be able to buy a house and have some pride and ownership, because all that does, it makes our schools better. It's eventually makes our tax base better. It makes our roads better. Which we could talk about what they're doing on Inman Street now if you really want to. But anyway, watching these guys work and take care of the people that choose to trust them is something you can't go wrong. So listen, and the other thing, if you're listening out there, if you just have questions, and we're going to talk about refinances here in just a minute, but maybe you're not buying, you've got a house, whatever the questions are, give them a call. Give you guys' numbers out one more time in case somebody's out there got a question and they just need some information.
Yes, our office number is 423-339-8086, and my cell phone number is 423-505-1376, and John Bischoff, his cell phone number is 423-505-9811. And I also want to mention we have a processor. Her name is Christy Bruce. So feel free, if you're looking for a loan or have any questions, you can contact her as well.
So if you want to know who really works in the office,
Christy
Bruce. In every office, there's a glue person. There's a glue lady. There's a glue guy.
Exactly.
Christy's the glue lady. I can promise you. And she is absolute joy to work with. I can promise you. So let's talk a little bit. We've talked a lot about purchases, about the rate environment, but there's still, one of the things that's happened as the market's shifted here in the last few years is that while over 2007 and 8, we didn't see the huge property increases that other areas saw, we have seen that in the last 5-10 years.
Correct.
We've seen folks, I know in my home, I've got a lot more equity than I thought I would have at this point. And people are worried, well, I've got all this equity. I got to sell my house to get it. You can still cash out refi right now, correct?
Yes, you can. And one of the things when looking at refinances, a lot of times you'll go to somewhere and they'll just try to push you, try to sell you into doing something. We're going to look at what your options actually are. Sometimes, and I won't mention who it was, but there's someone here in town, they were like, hey, he told me it didn't make sense for me to refinance. Didn't understand that in the sense that most of the time people just want to try to get a loan.
Yeah.
But I explained to him in that situation why it didn't make sense. And that's what we're going to look at. But right now, with the equity that you have and with what the Fed has done with rates, people's credit card rates have, even with good credit, have ballooned. And if you're in a situation where it's getting tough, from a budget standpoint, with all the things that we've had to deal with, we'll be happy to look at a refinance and see if it makes sense. And that's the key, give you options and see if it makes sense.
And for those of you that are out there, there are now laws in place that there's got to be a benefit to the borrower to do loans in most banks. I don't know there's anybody out there that's just doing a loan for the sake of doing a loan. And to tell you, well, that should have always been that way. Well, it wasn't, I can promise you. If they would say yes, you could sell them anything. I remember it was my first days in the business, we were called it dialing for dollars. But it was, it's right now, if you're paying 29% on credit cards and you're in this endless cycle every month, it could be $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 worth of credit card debt, medical debt, whatever that is, even if rates are 7%, what's better? You're in a cycle you're never going to get out of, where maybe just pulling $20,000, which isn't like all of your equity. And there's still great programs out there for 15 years. There's all different options to pay that down quicker. But folks, don't feel like you're trapped out there. And please, if your tip for the day is this, right now there is a slew of them. There are signs around town. They're what they call hard money lenders. And they are looking for people. They are predatory, folks. They are looking for people with bad credit who know just enough to know they need some money, but not enough to know they have options. If you're thinking about calling one of them, will you please give Darrell a call first? Will you please call an expert in the field that before you do that? Because you think you're in a cycle now. Wait till you get Tesla'd up with one of those guys.
Exactly.
Well, and one more time before we get out of here, give them how they get a hold of you guys and where you guys are located.
Okay, we're located at 31 Mouse Creek Road, right beside a flower shop, flowers and things. And you can get a hold of us by email, Darrell@hmsloan.com, or John at hmsloan.com, or Christy, Kristie at hmsloan.com. Or again, our phone numbers 423-339-8086 and 423-505-9811 is John's cell phone. Mine is 423-505-1376.
Darrell, my other brother Darrell, thank you for being here today, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Man, you got an expert in the field around here, folks. Give them a call. Give him and John a call. And if they don't answer you, Christy will. Listen, thank you so much for listening. Remember to go home, love on your family, love on your neighbor, and remember we're all in this together. We'll see you guys next week. You've been listening to Home Solutions right here on Mix 104.1 and 101.3 The Buzz.